Good morning to you and welcome back to the ViennaUP Morning Show. It's the third episode, however, it's the fifth day, and I'm still Daniel. I'm still your friendly host, together with
Marcus.
Marcus, it's an action-packed day. We have a lot of things going on. How should we start the day best?
Maybe if you're an investor, you want to check out the AFCO Investors Breakfast at Café Schwarzenberg, which definitely will be a good start into the day, because right afterwards there will also be then the Connect Day, which is the main matchmaking event of the ViennaUP 2022. There's no more tickets available for physical presence, but you can join online, and this is as good as physical because you can arrange appointments with all participants there, and then I would definitely recommend you checking that out. What else is on the agenda, Daniel?
Indeed. I mean, today is the day of the Entrepreneurship Avenue Conference, which has been one of my personal highlights for many, many, many years. It's the largest, I believe, the largest students startup conference in Europe, maybe in the world, maybe even in the universe, certainly the greatest. It's about pitching, matching, networking, whatever it is. It's at the Vienna University of Economics and Business, where we both actually went to university. It's an amazing day, and it has a very special highlight on stage, because the two of us are doing a live podcast recording together with the great Travis Pittman, who is the co-founder of which Viennese, well, scale-up, I'd say at this point.
Tourradar.
Tourradar. That's an incredible company, and we're going to be talking about all the ups and downs, what Travis has gone through. Just a hint, it's from the travel industry, and kind of travel the last couple of years has been somewhat tricky. He's an Aussie living in Vienna. This is going to be a really good one. What else have we got today?
Well, if you're already at Vienna University of Business and Economics, you might also want to check out the DanubeUP Cup, which is an international pitching competition for university students along the Danube. So maybe interesting, that one. You can also check out the campus of VU, because this one is a really nice one. What else? We have the Lisa Vienna Business Treff, which is specifically interesting if you're into life science. We have collaboration is better than competition by Womentor. The Impact Hub. We have the Leadership Fair by Female Factor. And yeah, for sure, we also have still going on, starting yesterday, the FinTech Week, the Smart City Summit, and the Talent Garden Innovators Week. So quite a packed schedule today.
So many incredible things coming up to you. And before you meet today's guest, I'd like to give you one more advice. When you are in Vienna and you'd like to greet like the locals, how do you do it? You say to people which you like and you're familiar with, you say Servus. And if you don't know them that well, you say Grüß Gott. Is that right?
That's right.
If you're under 40, you might as well just say hi. However you want to do it like the locals in that sense. Let's meet our guest for today. And as promised, here is today's guest. Her name is Daniela Gandorfer, and we are super happy to have you here. Daniela, tell us who you are and what you do, and hello first.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. This is very exciting for me. I am kind of wearing a lot of hats. I am a media and legal theorist. I did my PhD in the US, but I'm also part of a crypto artist collective and also a co-founder of an NGO and a road cyclist. So wow. I think this is how I would summarize it.
And a road cyclist, as in on bicycles?
Most of the time, yes.
That kind of helps. Okay, wow, and you kind of sleep in between as well. What does your nonprofit do?
It is called the Logische Fantasy Lab, and it tries to interrogate what law will become in a time of climate change and new digital technologies. So a lot here is still open, which is very exciting. On the other hand, there are a lot of pitfalls that come with that openness, and we try to intervene in that space and experiment with new forms.
So you're doing a lot with Web 3.0, I think, and maybe you can quickly give us an overview of what that actually means and how you think this will change our society in the future.
Yeah, sure, I do my best. So there are many narratives around it, but basically it denotes a vision of the next iteration of the internet that is built on blockchain and ideally decentralized and more open than the first two iterations. Like the first iteration, users were mainly content producers. Think about Yelp or Craigslist. And the ideas of openness in the cyberspace and of open source and democratizations were really big. And then in the second iteration, this is the iteration of Facebook and Twitter and Amazon and Google. These ideas kind of got into the background, to say the least, and users became producers of data that got monetized, and nothing was built on top. It was a closed system. And so Web3, in its best interpretation, holds the promise to break that hegemony, like the centralization of power by big tech giants.
And what I find so intriguing here is, thank you for that very good description, is now's the time to shape that space, right? It's super early days. So maybe just out of a feeling, if this were the internet, where are we now with Web3? Are we 1991, 1992? How early are we?
That's kind of a difficult question because everything about data is about speed. And as you point out, actually, we are not as far as we think we are. But some sense of where we are at or what is happening, we can see with NFTs, for example, which are part of the Web3. Or there are developments of DeFi, decentralized finance, which tries to break up the financial system a little bit more. Or there are many startups that actually work on environmental justice with blockchain technologies. But to give you a year, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's a good answer. Now, but I'm curious. Now, NFTs. Most people think NFTs is basically about bored apes, but it's more than that, isn't it? So maybe you could tell us, because I think you are in the position to. Why are NFTs so exciting?
Yeah, that's. I really appreciate that question because it also relates to the art that we do and the awareness that we try to raise. So, an NFT is not more and not less than a digital record or a digital representation of an ownership or ownership right of either digital asset, like a digital image, or a physical asset, a real estate or whatever it might be. And it lives on the blockchain and can be exchanged on the blockchain. And what is especially important is it is unique. So it's not like a dollar or a euro that is not unique, that you can exchange one for one. It is one of its kind, which creates the value. I think there are many reasons for the excitement. One is that it is a mode of value creation. So you create value by price mechanism, scarcity, and the like. On the other hand, it is also, and this speaks a little bit more to what I'm working on and my team is working on, it is a form of tokenization. It gives a token, an expression to something presumably real in the world. And as much as this can pertain to art, it's also a very real government function. It is something that really shapes how we think about nature, about us, about relations. Yeah.
Again, I love that because it seems that in NFT space, we're currently just playing and most people don't even seem to understand the implications you've just given to it. Now, there's so much to discover. Tell us about the session you will be hosting. I believe it is tomorrow.
So one way of bringing together the two concerns that we are working on and with, namely, what happens in this Web3 space with law? What are rights in that space when there are no courts? What is real estate in the metaverse? Those things. So bringing these questions together with what these concepts and these new things like NFTs do and smart contracts do is our Breath for Sale project, which I will present. And basically the question is, what happens when you tokenize a breath? So we engineered a device, a sensing device. You can breathe towards this device and it will produce a very unique visualization of your breath, which is very beautiful and intriguing. And that goes up for sale, and all the revenue goes to the NGO, and we work on the right to breathe. Now that is, I think that's a great idea and people are very excited about that. On the other hand, it also shows what can happen, namely that you can tokenize something like a breath. Where does it even start and end? And what is the value of a breath? how much is it worth? Why are breaths worth different amounts of different kinds of cryptocurrencies? So that's one of the things I would like to discuss, and see what this means also for the audience and what we together think about these things.
So if you want to see Daniela, you should check out the Creative Days, who are happening tomorrow and the day afterwards. Maybe to close it off, a more personal question. Coming to Vienna, what do you really like about Vienna? What are you looking forward to doing when you're in the city?
Yeah, it's almost a cliche that people who move away then really, really want to come back and see what the value, just keep it that topic of the city is. I mean, I love very good food. And what I mean is really nuanced flavors. Now I get a little nerdy. I also really like to exercise and do all kinds of sports. And having lived in very different cities in the world, I can really attest to the fact that Vienna is unique. And I'm looking forward to doing all of that, to eating and moving and celebrating.
Perfectly put. Daniela, it's been a pleasure. You're looking forward to Vienna. Vienna is looking forward to you. And thank you so much for joining us on our morning show today. So you should check out Daniela. And in that sense, thank you very much for being with us. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much and bye-bye.
For more information, check out ViennaUP.com.